Hello, and welcome to MBNA's Monument Matters, a podcast produced by the Monument Builders of North America for all things monumental. MBNA is a 118-year-old association whose mission is to define and promote memorialization in a viable, innovative, and diversified way for its members, and to enhance awareness of memorialization by the general public and the entire remembrance industry. In that spirit of promoting memorialization, the MBNA Marketing Committee is providing these podcasts as an extension of our monthly magazine, MB News. Each podcast episode features a discussion related to a magazine theme. Monument Matters podcasts invite everyone to listen and share. You'll find all of the episodes of our first season on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. I'm your host, Mike Johns, CM AICA, from the Johns Carabelli Company, Summerall Monuments and Flowers in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm also past president of the Monument Builders of North America. Today, I'm talking with Lori Haynes Allen and Scott Allen of Haynes Memorials Limited in Jefferson, Ohio. Good morning, Lori and Scott.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Tell me a little bit more about your company. I think, as I understand it, you're celebrating 100 years in business this year. Congratulations.
That is correct. I am actually third generation owner. My grandfather started it, obviously, in 1925.
Fabulous. Haynes Memorials has been a member of MBNA for over 15 years, as I understand it. So please share with me how MBNA membership has been a part of your company's success. Scott, you want to chime in on that first?
Sure. I think being a member of MBNA has helped us with resources, being able to reach out to other companies, fellow members that for information. We can't know everything all the time, and I think it has been a great resource for whether it's supplies or knowledge or just anything overall. It's a great resource to get involved.
Thanks, Scott. Lori, any other thoughts?
The advocacy that we have available to us through MBNA, if we have a customer that has a problem with a cemetery not allowing something to happen, we can help them get in touch or be a liaison for helping them get things taken care of that way.
Thank you. So to those listeners who may not be members of MBNA, what would you tell them to consider?
Oh, it's a great membership to be involved with because you get to commemorate, talk with other dealers, get input. If you have a situation of a monument that you're just not sure how to handle, you can contact another monument builder associate and say, hey, I got this problem. And then everybody is willing to work and help you.
But you could do that on Facebook, right?
Well, you can, but everybody's on Facebook, and how can you tell for sure if they're legit, membership of the MBNA?
I agree. I think there's a lot of information on the internet today. Not all of it's good, and so
Correct.
I think membership in MBNA is a good way to vet the information and be sure that what you're learning is really going to be helpful and not detrimental.
We see some pretty interesting things on Facebook and kind of get a chuckle once in a while.
As do I. Sometimes it's just a head scratcher. Anyway, recently, not only did you attend the MBNA Monument Industry Show in Cleveland, but you got a behind-the-scenes look at how the show setup happens. So what factors went into your decision to attend this year's show and participate in setup and teardown?
One, we were fairly close to home, per se, an hour and 20 minutes to where the show happened. So that was a little bit of a factor on saying, hey, well, I really want to try and see what all goes into making this show happen. And be able to work with other like-minded people. Would I do it again? 100%. Would I do it again having to travel a long distance to do it? 100%. I think it was a great experience. Being able to talk and work alongside of people with varying degrees of experience and knowledge, um, not just with the setup, the tear down, the moving of certain pieces to get them in display, but just the conversations in between and while it's happening, you you build some bonds there from people that are way outside of our area um, that will help in the long run. I think. I mean, you have a lot of experience to draw from. Everybody's got varying degrees. Everybody's situation is different. Um, our situations here in the cemeteries are way different than it is in southern Tennessee or different places that they run into some different things on a regular basis that we don't.
Well, you mentioned Tennessee, but I mean, even the hour between us allows for
Correct.
some very different situations from cemetery to cemetery, for sure.
Correct.
Lori?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, we have been doing this. Obviously, I've been doing it basically all my life, soon as my mom would let me go with dad to the cemeteries. And, we kind of got set in our ways of doing things. But going to the convention, you see how sometimes the people do it differently. And it's like, oh, wow, I never thought of that. That is a better way to do this. So it does open your eyes, and you get, like Scott says, you get to have a bond with some other monument dealers and people that work in the same industry.
Yeah, and I think in fairness, you learn that one, different isn't always a bad thing, but sometimes you see different and you say, oh, you know what? I really think that we had it right the first time. So maybe I can share my approach to that situation to someone and save them some angst or some potential heartache for sure. So describe for the audience just a little bit what it took to set up that show.
Well, when you first go in, you kind of have a team meeting with everybody that's there. You get divided up into groups. There's usually about 5 or 6 members in the group. You have a team lead that kind of takes the lead as to what's going on. You get a diagram of the vendor's display that they want to have it look like. And then you go over into the other side of where the convention is, where all the granite has been delivered and it's all staged there. And you find what pieces you need and go from there. You work with the local team operators union for running the tow motors. Some of them are new to moving granite, but they're all expert operators as far as that goes. And you get into a system of laying out the display, figuring out what pieces need to go in first, and you just kind of jump right into it and start working them.
So were the two of you on the same team or different teams? Just curious.
Different teams.
Understood. Okay, so there's basically five folks per team. How many teams?
Oh gosh.
I think there was. I think we started out with 6 teams, 5 teams or 6 teams. Um, it, it's uh, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Takes quite a lot of time. You don't realize how much time it actually takes to set that many pieces of stone up in those displays. We spent um, I think 9 hours the first day we were setting up. Um, we're limited a little bit on how where the Teamsters are working on how their schedule is. We have to work with them, but we we got it busted out and handled. So
So if memory serves, I think you guys worked the full day and a half, or was it almost two full days to get set up?
pretty much 2 full days. Um, I think the last day we finished up at like 5 o'clock, or close
Round
to.
round to 4. 4 o'clock
Okay.
we were finished up because I
Yeah.
think show opened at 6.
Yeah, we just had time to go and get cleaned up a little bit. And we started at like 6 a.m. both
Wow.
days. So
Okay. So we've got 5 or 6 teams of 5 volunteers, not paid volunteers, plus the operators, plus a couple other folks in the mix, for sure. Um, and I don't know, countless number of pieces, right? So when you do the math, it's an awful lot of work.
I would be kind of curious to see the actual man hours that get put in just to set up, because even prior to that, the scheduling and getting all the granite there, getting it all staged into groups as it comes in on trucks prior to us even showing up. There is a lot involved in getting it to happen.
Sure. And then once it's all set up, all that crating has to be set aside and marked because it all gets packed up and sent away at the end of the show. So it is an awful lot of effort to do the full display show for sure. Um, so give me a couple of takeaways that you brought back from the show.
One of my takeaways from the show overall in general was to use your mind a little more, to be more open minded and not just set. Okay, this is a stone, and per se, um, we'll design off of this set piece. Um, I went to um, the hands-on thing at your shop after the fact there, and really got a lot out of that, saying, hey, let me think more about some of these pieces. Let me be a little more experimental and kind of pull some things together. You know, some things that you wouldn't normally think of. I don't know. I thought that was a great benefit. I really enjoyed that. Um, I think the overall show, I think there's a ton of, even though we might not see it as a whole, there is a ton of people working to transform, like the lockable niches, which I wouldn't have thought would have been a big deal, but there are people asking for them. So that this is the first show we really saw anything about those or any information on those. But a lot of that I kind of, there's so many different things to take away. It's hard to break it down.
Okay. Lori, anything stand out for you?
The availability of new colors of granite that's available for us to use. That was something that was new for us for this year. The different sandstone looking pieces, the different leather work that's being done on pieces. Just the availability of making different shapes, an accordion, a motorcycle. I mean, different things like that you would have never even thought of trying to make a shape of in granite. And just the new techniques that are being used in our technology fields nowadays.
Those are innovation is something that is really coming to the monument industry more and more, which is really encouraging. But I think also it's not just the technology; it's the people, right? The group of people is younger than it's ever been. Um, I know for me, I'm always meeting more people, learning interesting things, and some are just little tidbits, and some that you don't even register until it's time to use them, and you say, hey, you know what, so and so told me this at the show, I'm going to give that a whirl. this time and see how it pans out for me. And 9 times out of 10, those tidbits pay off big dividends, at least for me. So I hope you have the same experience there. So, Scott, you mentioned the hands-on demonstrations that we did over here. Is there anything in particular that you learned that you've already put into practice that you weren't really doing before?
Well, a couple of things actually that we were actually due for a new sign. We had some wind damage to our sign along the road, um, and we were due for a new sign. And I'm like, oh, hey, you know what? We've got some scrap pieces that were damaged that were pulled out of the cemetery for damage from various things. I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me pull this out of here and let me look at this. So I've on one piece I tried some leathering, and got that to come out. I've got some other things. I've kind of got a design drawn out that I'm gonna make our sign definitely be a piece of art rather than just a billboard. Because of things that I saw and experienced at that hands-on training. Some of the other things I've got in the back of my toolbox there that I know I'm going to have to use throughout the summer here as we get more into work. As you know, it's been kind of, the weather's been all over the place here, so but definitely things that I'm going to use when we get that opportunity that we kind of picked up and said, oh, okay. And there's some things that I have done that I saw just a different way to do, like with Fuller's Earth and stuff. We had a conversation on that, on making a poultice with you there. That you know, okay, that's a way that I wasn't aware of, that because I think how a lot of us are trained or pick up the knowledge that we have. I mean, I'm 35 years into doing this, and we pick it up and go from our predecessors. So it's how they did it, and we have to keep inventing on our own to keep moving forward. And I think as an industry as a whole, we do that, but it's a little different.
I think that's a great point. You know, you mentioned 35 years in the industry, and for me, it's 50. And a lot of times, what that promotes is a little bit of inbreeding, right, in your thinking. And so you may have some great ways to do things, and you've learned them. You know, they've been handed down and handed down. But you know what? As much as I'd like to say I learned the best way to do every single thing that I do, I can't say that, right? But I can say 100% without question that I've learned to modify some of those practices because of the things that I've learned through the associations I've made by being a member of MBNA. And I would not have had those opportunities otherwise.
So one of the things that little bit of hands-on that we did through that event inspired me more to um, do the School of Hard Rocks, sign up for that for next year, because I think all those experiences put into your toolbox gain in the future. That's only going to make you a better memorialist down the road.
I think I believe in that as well. You know, I think that for me, the connecting with the friends that I've made, going to the programs, speaking to the vendors, all it does is rekindle that creative spark, that drive, that it takes you out of the humdrum routine that can sometimes get tiring. That phone that doesn't stop ringing when and it feels like an interruption, but it's your customer, so it can't possibly be an interruption. But sometimes you get in that rut, and so I feel very strongly that my association with MBNA, whether it's on the board or through the people that I've met or going to convention, it just helps me keep focused and grounded and remind me, why I'm doing what I do and why this company is here. And so I think we do a much better job for our customer having that in our back pocket.
Most definitely.
Agreed.
So I also understand that you had someone else come to the hands-on with you. What was their experience? Do you have any takeaways from them?
Well, he didn't really come to the hands-on. When Scott was at
Oh,
the
I'm sorry. You're
hands-on,
right. Yes.
yes, when Scott went to the hands-on, our son Matt filled in for the teardown until the hands-on was over with. Now Matt is a senior in high school. He's only 17 years old, but he's obviously grown up with us in the business. He was a little nervous finding out that he wasn't going to be on my team or anything for teardown, and I'm like, "You'll be fine, Matt. Just do what you know or what you are asked to do." And so I introduced him to the other team members that was on Scott's team, and I said, here, Matt's filling in, and that. Well, when lunchtime come around, well, even a little before that, the mom instinct, okay, where's he at? What's he doing? Go over, look what he's doing. Oh, he's all right. He's doing all right. I don't have to worry about him. So at lunchtime, one of the other team members came over and told me, he goes, he would have never guessed that Matt was only 17 years old, but he jumped right in and knew what he needed to do, what he was asked, he could do it. Everything was great. So the other team members were very impressed with Matt.
That's tremendous, and I think that speaks volumes to what I'm trying to get across. So many times people say, "Well, MBNA, blah blah blah. What's in it for me? What am I going to get out of being a member?" And the simple answer to me is the relationships that you create and you build, because you're rarely the smartest person in the room, but collectively we become smarter together. And we can only do that when we participate in associations like MBNA.
That's correct.
So at this point, I want to thank you, Lori and Scott, for sharing your time with us today. I know it's valuable. The sun is kind of trying to peek out, so I'm sure that you, like us, have plenty to do with the rest of your day.
Correct.
So again, I'm going to say thank you for sharing your time with us today, and the viewers as well, listeners. The April issue of MB News highlights new and ever evolving member benefits. I encourage anyone considering membership to visit the MBNA website to download the full member benefits handbook. The May issue of MB News is an expanded issue with photos from the 2025 Monument Industry Show, along with a full contact list for all of the exhibitors. It's a great reference tool for anyone in the monument industry. So thank you for listening to Monument Matters. MBNA invites you to stay connected through Facebook and LinkedIn, or visit www.monumentbuilders.org for upcoming events and webinars. For MBNA, I'm Michael Johns. Thanks for taking time out of your day to listen. If you found this worthwhile, please take a minute and share the link with a friend. For comments and feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Please drop a note to info@monumentbuilders.org. Thanks again, and have a great rest of your day.